Hello everybody, it's Sephiroth4 for the weekly update. A few things. First of all, I just want to thank everybody that left nice comments on last week's thing, or sent me messages or whatever. I really appreciate it. And any little bit of prayers for my family are appreciated. So thank you. Right now, the current plan is they want him to get another biopsy this week to get like a bit more stuff to look at before planning out like what his treatment plan is. So that's what this week's stuff is. In another topics. Last week was another Lethal Company stream. It was super good. I highly suggest watching it. One of these days I'm going to put the VODs up. One of these days. Yeah. Also, Final Fantasy 7 Remake Let's Play started last week. I'm going to try to upload Monday through Friday. So far, I've been keeping up. I have a few episodes recorded for this week already, so it should be good. I have a drive to play it, so I have a drive to record it. Also, my schoolwork for this semester, this is second to last week of the semester. So things are dying down. I still have a paper to write this week, but it's not as bad as the projects that I've been having to do for the rest of the semester so far. So it's been good. It's getting better. We're past the major stress part of this semester. We'll see what next semester brings, but we're past the major stress part of this semester. So I have more leeway to actually record. Let's see. Last week I was supposed to get a shot in my spine, a steroid shot. Insurance didn't approve it, so it got rescheduled to this Wednesday. Insurance still hasn't approved it yet, despite us yelling at them and them saying that they're fast-tracking the approval. But we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I can't take like painkillers in a bunch of days leading up to the shot. So it's going to be agony, and then I'm probably going to get denied service again. And that was all going to have been for nothing. So good times, good times. Let's see, anything else that happened this week? Dragonsteel. Brandon Sanderson has like a Kickstarter going to another secret project book, The Madman. So I backed that. Let's see, more Rebirth things. Akira Toriyama passed away, that's right. Man. What a legend. There's nothing I can really say to encapsulate like the impact that he had on everything. Everything nerd culture. But I don't think I can safely say I don't think that there's a single piece of media that hasn't been touched by the impact of Akira Toriyama in some way. Whether it's anime or video games or whatever. Like, you know, even if it's drawing style, if it's references, you know, of poses or lines from the work or whatever, it's everywhere, man. Especially like the Dragon Ball series, obviously, Dragon Quest series with his art, Chrono Trigger with his art, and you know he contributed to a lot of stuff. Sandland, man, I was really sad. 68 is very young, also, which sucks. But it was nice to see like Twitter just flooded with tributes from like actually every artist I follow, which is wild because yeah, like I was definitely inspired as a child by Dragon Ball to draw like Goku and stuff like that. I think just about every artist tried to draw Goku at some point. as a kid who grew up with Dragon Ball. Like my two biggest inspirations for drawing stuff was Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z, the whole series, and Naruto, the Naruto manga. Those were the two things that I drew as a kid. So, man, obviously, like, growing up with Dragon Ball Z airing on Toonami on TV, and, my parents being, like, that was as a kid, Dragon Ball Z was, like, the Mortal Kombat of its day. Like, that was the thing that all the parents rallied around, as the violence on TV these days, the Japanese cartoons that kids watch. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z with all its yelling and fighting and stuff like that. I still watched it. But man, what a loss. But it was really nice to see, like, just tributes from artists, tributes from other manga writers, and, like, everybody acknowledging the amazing impact that he's had on, like, the whole world, pretty much. I really don't think that there's, like, that many people who have any access to media that haven't heard or seen Dragon Ball Z in some way, shape, or form, It's just been everywhere. Man, what a loss. But what a legend. And last night I saw Dune 2, which was great. And today is Mario Day, which, if you haven't woken up yet, I'm not going to spoil what Nintendo posted, but they gave some release dates for stuff. So go check out their YouTube, I guess. But yeah. So for this week, I don't have a Lethal Company stream planned. I'm going to have to discuss that with Luca, Massey, and Fury. Usually try to plan like the week in advance, but we'll see. And more Final Fantasy 7. I'm gonna try to do Monday through Friday uploads, so just that I don't get behind, so that I can actually play the game and not have to wait, and also so that I have less of a chance of being spoiled on it on Twitter, because some of my friends are already at the end of the game. What the heck, guys? How dare you play a game quickly that you enjoy? But yeah, okay, so the last thing I guess I'm going to say today, to keep it as vague posting as possible, but it's very easy, at least in my mind, in some people's minds, but it's very easy to take things personally. Whether it's somebody trying to enforce a boundary of theirs or a rule, or anything that rubs you the wrong way, really. But in this case, I'm talking about people enforcing rules and boundaries. It's very easy to take it personally and say you're attacking me, you're calling me out on this specifically, when it's a person's attempt to keep a specific boundary or vibe going in their space, whether it's their personal space, Twitter, Discord, on a stream, whatever. We talked a couple weeks ago about backseating and how to help there in terms of maintaining boundaries and the wishes of the streamer. But this is like a more general thing of if somebody says like, hey, I don't want to talk about X in my Discord, for instance, and you get upset at that and say, I talked about X, so you're obviously talking about me. The fact that the person didn't mention you by name means that A, they might not have been talking about you, and B, they were trying to avoid calling you out personally because they know that that's an embarrassing thing to do and they don't want to do that to you. So by not calling you out directly. They're trying to avoid the situation that you are putting yourself in. And again, I don't want to make this like a victim blaming that, if you are actually being targeted anonymously, then that's a problem. But what I'm trying to say is, think about it. Is it more likely that an entire group of people in a Discord is running a targeted harassment campaign against you, or are you maybe overthinking it? I know certainly for myself, when my brain tells me that everyone around me actually secretly hates me, after thinking it for a few moments, even though like the feeling doesn't necessarily go away, I can understand for myself that it's really unlikely that everyone has decided to hate me all of a sudden and attack me. And, sometimes you have like really horrible life circumstances that make you more prone to anxiety and fears and paranoia. And again, that's certainly happened with me. I unfortunately have a very high chance or high propensity towards these paranoid feelings that people are out to get me, just because of the type of stresses that I have. But I can recognize that it is a me problem and not a them problem. And if you're not able to differentiate where those feelings are coming from, then you start projecting onto other people. And once you do that, you start speaking in your voice with their mouth. And that starts misrepresenting them. Because you don't know a person. You don't know what a person's thinking. And, to say that somebody is thinking something when they haven't said anything is very disingenuous, because you're not saying what they're thinking. You're saying what you think that they're thinking, or you're saying what you're thinking. And once you form this opinion of somebody, of a negative thought process that you've projected onto them, you're not going to change your mind on that, because that's what you know now. And anything that they do to change it is obviously just some sort of trickery or disingenuous on their part. How dare they project themselves as nice people when in reality I know that they're secretly a monster, because this is what I think that they think. And it's going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse, because you are going to start thinking them not only as whatever negative thoughts that you projected, but you're going to start thinking of them as a hypocrite or a liar. And then you're just going to stop believing them entirely. And it's just a negative self-process that just keeps going down and down. So what I'm trying to say, cut people a little slack. People, I know you yourself would want, in a situation of either high stress or a misunderstanding, you would want people to cut you slack. You would say, well, of course, I have good intentions. Like, why wouldn't I? But if you assume that other people don't have good intentions, then you're not acting in good faith. So if you want people to assume that you're acting well, don't do that to them, especially if it's someone that you care about. If it's someone that you actually care about, then you're not going to project onto them, because that's not fair to them, and that's not fair to you or your relationship with them. So yeah, basically, give people the benefit of the doubt. Life sucks. There's a lot of stresses for all of us, and I understand that. Sometimes the stresses get the better of us, and I understand that too. Our job is to make sure that those stresses and those negative thoughts don't stay permanent when we attach them to someone else. And that we can understand that these are stress-related thoughts and not reality. Because even if you can't shake them right now, the fact that you can differentiate between them makes a huge difference in your developing relationship with that person, whether positive or negative. So just keep that in mind. Cut people a little slack, especially if, they're in a difficult situation. Even if you don't think it's a difficult situation, it's entirely possible it's difficult for them. And just remember, you don't know what goes on in people's lives. What might seem easy to you might be terribly hard for somebody because they've been through a lot that you just don't know, because they don't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to make drama. But that means that you're cut out of that picture. So yeah, if you assume that someone reacts strangely to something, or very strongly to something, you don't think that they're being malicious. It might be, entirely possible. And that's something that I hope that people assume for you as well, in cases where you have to say something. But, just remember that it goes both ways. If you create an environment where people try to understand and believe each other and not misunderstand each other, then it's going to foster that understanding. If you create an environment where everyone is hostile, then it's going to foster hostility. So try to keep the spaces around you less hostile and more understanding. That's all I'm asking. Thank you for listening, and happy Mario Day. I'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.